Hey everyone, I know it's been a while since I made a higher quality video, like a countdown, just like this, a review, or really just any other higher quality video. I've been trying to post shorter, lower quality videos just to get some content onto the channel, some regular old YouTube shorts, and of course I posted some vlogs over the summer, but as you probably know, because I posted this like 10 videos ago, I've been pretty busy. I work at Six Flags, I work doubles 5 days a week, and I only have 2 days off, and I gotta do other things like work around the house, or of course I'm just taking trips or doing my own thing. And of course I also am waist deep into school. It's my hopefully senior year, and then I have student teaching, but I do have some other videos in mind for the channel. I have a few other countdown ideas I want to do, some reviews, and of course some of the other content I've introduced to the channel. Train videos. I have a vlog sort of coming from a recent train museum trip I did, so hopefully I'll get those up sometime soon. Alright, so finally getting to the video. While I may have RMC coasters as my number ones or number twos, or pretty much my entire top 5, Intamin is still my favorite manufacturer. Their ability to push the edge, innovate, and create quality rides anywhere they go is very admirable in my opinion. And as of September 2023, I have ridden 19 of their coasters throughout the United States. However, there are several of their coasters I have not ridden, and I have not ridden any of the US straddle coasters, although I'll hopefully get on dark coasters sometime soon, along with any of the impulse coasters besides Wicked Twister and Possessed. And for the major coasters, I'm missing from Intamin are American Eagle at Great America, Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure, that's such a mouthful, Incredicoaster, Matsugani, Ride of Steel at Darien Lake, Velocicoaster, and Accelerator at Knott's. I'll hopefully be getting to Hagrid's and Velocicoaster next year if all goes to plan, and all the others I hope to get on in the near future, but for now, here are my top 15 favorite Intamins. The one operating coaster to not make the cut is Timmy's Half-Pipe Havoc at Nickelodeon Universe and American Dream. I'm not really the biggest fan of this coaster. Most of my rides I really didn't spin at all, and the few rides I did spin on it, it really just wasn't that enjoyable for me. It's definitely a fun little ride, and I'm happy it exists, and I know a lot of other people like this thing, but it's really just not my thing. So, starting out, number 15, Skull Mountain at Six Flags Great Adventure. I found a new appreciation for this indoor family coaster at my home park. For the first half of the 2023 season, I was the supervisor of Skull Mountain, along with the surrounding kids' rides, and I got to ride this quite a bit for our morning test rides. The first drop has always been favorable to me, with its strong and sustained flow to airtime in the back row. However, with my rides, I recently found it has another airtime pop in one of the rapid transitions, along with a few fun moments of laterals. I still wish the music, along with the original effects, would be turned back on, but unfortunately the ride has been a dark box for a while now. However, it's still fun nonetheless. Up next would have been Alpine Bob Sled at Six Flags Great Escape. However, right before this video was written, the park decided to close the ride for good. The fact this ride lasted as long as it did is honestly amazing to me. Intamin bobsleds are a maintenance headache from what I've heard, and this ride was a super fun ride with a very unique set of feelings to it, and it will certainly be missed. Number 14, Possessed at Dorney Park. This ride might place a little higher if it still had the holding brake. However, since about late 2015, early 2016, the ride has not featured a holding brake on the back spike. Possessed is a super fun ride that features a nice multi-pass launch sequence through the station, along with a violent twist up the front spike and some fun float on the back spike. With the continued decrease in popularity that the Intamin impulse coasters face, I hope Dorney decides to keep this around for a little while. Next ride would have been Wicked Twister at Cedar Point, however the ride was removed into the end of 2021 season. I was lucky enough to ride it twice before its removal though. Flying up the two massive spikes were super fun, especially if you were in the back row, going up the back spike. Flying 220 feet into the air while twisting was such a unique sensation, and a lot of people didn't really care for this ride, but honestly I thought it was great and I'll definitely miss it. Pretty much everything I said about Possessed applies to this, except that this one's better. Number 13, Cheetah Hunt at Busch Gardens Tampa. While I wasn't super impressed with Cheetah Hunt, this is still a fun and long ride. Cheetah Hunt isn't a super powerful ride with any of its forces, however it has a few moments of strong floater airtime and a few intense moments. This ride focuses more on the visuals and the length. My first ride I rode towards the back I wasn't really a fan. On the second ride, I ended up getting a front row ride and really enjoyed it. The forces were a little stronger, and of course you get to see all the scenery. Also, not to mention, with the addition of the water effect during the rapid twists, I'm sure this ride is even more fun now. Number 12, Fahrenheit at Hershey Park. This is a ride that everyone loves and I really don't. Don't get me wrong though, this is a fantastic ride, but it's just really not my thing. The layout itself is super strong with a great beyond vertical drop, some intense inversions, and a few airtime moments throughout the ride. However, the main issue I have with this ride is the fact that it has a strong vibration on some of the elements, and the other one is that the restraints are just super tight for me. If you've ever seen me before, you know I'm a big guy. I'm 6 feet tall with very broad shoulders, and for whatever reason, these restraints do not like my shoulders. The lap bar comes down and it's fine, but when it comes to buckling the seatbelt, it pulls down the soft strap super tight to the point of almost not buckling. It makes me wish they kept the original hard restraints, and it's funny because I don't have this problem on Stormrunner, Maverick, or any of the other Intamin soft shoulder restraints. Up next would have been Top Thrill Dragster. And yes, this ride technically still does exist, however I'm counting Top Thrill 2 as a completely new ride. Top Thrill Dragster had a fantastic launch, great airtime and laterals on the top hat, and of course sustained speed. The ride was very short, but the open trains really amplified all the forces felt on something that was that tall and that fast, and I was lucky enough to get on this literally once, 2 weeks before it closed forever. On my first visit to Cedar Point in 2019, the ride was down for about a month, and then on my second visit in 2021, I was able to get on my first day, and then the whole second day it was closed. Hopefully Top Thrill 2 will be a bit more reliable and just as fun of a ride. Number 11, Sandy's Blasting Bronco at American Dreams Nick Universe. This is a super intense, compact launch coaster, and I have a full review of this ride if you'd like to hear more in-depth thoughts. Basically, each valley packs on intense positives, and the hang time on all the inversions is crazy. There's also a strong moment of whip coming out of the second inversion, and also not to mention, both launches are two of the best launches in the world thanks to their power, and of course, the second one being backwards. Nothing beats being folded over your lap bar on that second launch going backwards. Starting the top 10 is Kika at Six Flags Great Adventure. I'm not sure what it is, but Kika is running the best it ever has in 2023. All of the rows give a near butter smooth ride with an intense launch, insane speed, and almost every train zooms over the top. Thanks to the speed over the top, you get ejector airtime until hitting the trim brake. The drop gives a crazy visual and strong laterals as you twist down, along with an intense valley going into a strong floater airtime hill. This ride gets way too much hate in my opinion, and while it gives a short ride, it's definitely an amazing one. Number 9, Millennium Force at Cedar Point. The world's first Giga Coaster may not give the most intense ride, but it definitely gives a very good one. To start, Millennium features a fantastic setting right on Lake Erie and flies through the woods of the park. The 310-foot tall lift gives an amazing view of Lake Erie, the surrounding landscape, and on a clear day, Canada? The drop is one of the best in the world, and the rest of the ride features a few moments of positive G-forces, floater airtime over every hill, and it's sort of like a really big B&M Hyper, just a little less intense. The trains are also fairly comfy with those open seats and classic T-bars. Number 8, Superman Ride of Steel at Six Flags America. A lot of people really aren't the biggest fans of this ride, but I really enjoy it. For Intamin's first Hyper, I think they did a great job. There is also a full review of this ride on my channel, so if you'd like to hear more in-depth thoughts, check that one out. The ride starts off with a big first drop that gives a nice little pop of airtime into a super fast low to the ground turn. The rest of the ride is filled with fast helixes, hills with floater and ejector airtime, and of course, the famous straight section. I know it's out of place here since Darien Lake's version glides over the water, but I really just enjoy flying through the trees and making fun of the straight section while riding it. Number 7, Superman the Ride at Six Flags New England. Arguably having one of the most diverse layouts in the world, Superman features a little bit of everything. Intense positive G-forces, floater and ejector airtime, laterals, and even some nice scenery throughout the ride. Really the main issue with this ride are the trains. The lap bars, as you may know, are bulky and sit right on your thighs instead of your lap. The seats are also a little tight due to the fact that the trains were modified after a string of incidents, and the legroom is minimal. It really is a shame that this great ride was given such terrible trains. However, maybe Six Flags New England and Intamin can provide some new trains like the new ones on Thunder Dolphin at Tokyo Dome City. Number 6, Stormrunner at Hershey Park. Stormrunner is easily one of Intamin's finest creations. Each element on this ride really pops and is a highlight. The launch features an intense acceleration, the top hat gives strong airtime, and the valley provides intense positive Gs. The flying snake dive is one of the best inversions in the world with its airtime, hang time, and laterals. And of course, the finale features a high-speed lateral twist. They may not provide the longest experience, but I'd say quality over quantity. Number 5, Pantheon at Busch Gardens Williamsburg. Initially, when this ride ran its first cycles in 2021, the ride ran super fast. It would fly over the top hat and flew through the rest of the layout. However, when the ride opened to the public in 2022, the ride would crawl over the top hat. Going into it, I was still excited, but my expectations were lowered. However, I was extremely surprised on this ride's ejector airtime, great pacing, minus over the top hat, intensity, and amazing launch sequence. I plan on making a full review of this ride soon, so I'll save the more in-depth thoughts for that video. Number 4, Maverick at Cedar Point. Maverick is truly the definition of size does not matter. After years of Cedar Point trying to make all of their rides massive record breakers in the early 2000s, they decided to go with Intamin's proposal for a prototype LSM launch coaster, instead of B&M's 200-foot Flows coaster. The result was a ride with a powerful drop, amazing ejector airtime, crazy pacing, and whippy transitions. It barely broke the 100-foot barrier, and this was really the first ride that sparked Intamin's trend in creating super compact and intense rides that really tried to kill you. Speaking of which, the next two are pretty much known for that. Number 3, Intimidator 305 at King's Dominion. Standing 305 feet tall, reaching a top speed of 90 miles an hour, and featuring some of the world's most intense elements on any coaster. There's really only one way to describe this ride, and that it's not for everybody. This ride features super intense positive G-forces, amazing airtime, and the whippiest transitions of any ride out there. Coaster fans like myself love it, but the general population really isn't the biggest fan due to its extreme intensity. Number 2, Skyrush at Hershey Park. Now, it may be controversial to some people that Skyrush is over Intimidator 305, but to me, Skyrush is a bit more intensive experience. While I-305 takes positive G-forces to the extreme, Skyrush takes the negative G-forces to the extreme. Each airtime hill gives some of the strongest airtime of any coaster, and the super open seats and trains make this feeling horrifying. The ride features a super intense drop with a weird double pop of airtime halfway down, along with intense lateral forces on the turns that can fold you over if you aren't careful. This ride always tends to have mixed opinions. You're either on the side of loving it or hating it, and I'm on the side that loves it. Number 1, El Toro at Six Flags Great Adventure. This is also a ride that has fallen out of favor with a lot of coaster enthusiasts and even some of the general public. The ride still offers the same ejector airtime, breakneck speeds, and intensity it always has, but people are saying that the ride is getting rougher. Well, I agree, some of the bumps stick out more than they have in the past. The ride still pretty much feels the same to me, and I started riding it about 10 or 11 years ago. Now yeah, my tolerance for roughness has definitely went down in the past 10 years, but I can say for a fact that it pretty much feels the same as it has. El Toro is easily the world's best wooden coaster and Intamin's finest creation, in my opinion, until I get on more of their stuff, of course. Nothing beats that first drop, ejector airtime, and of course, I love the twister section at the end. People always say that the middle and the end have dead spots, but to be honest, I love every single part of this ride, and I think it really gives a nice variety. It's got airtime, laterals, and intensity. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, and of course comment your favorite Intamin coasters down in the comment. Thanks for watching everybody, and I hope to see you next time.